Nothing makes a man feel better than making a fake cover of a magazine about himself, lying every day and destroying the country.
Okay.
It's a good feeling.
Well, enough about me. But
where are your hands in that photo?
In my
well, he's covering his hands here because they're teensy.
The other crazy thing about that, not to belabor that story from
I was
yesterday,
talking about Trump.
Donald Trump actually was on the cover of Time magazine 14 times.
Right.
But
that wasn't enough.
One of those up there, I don't know.
That wasn't enough, was it? Exclamation
Always
point.
needs more.
Okay.
Still ahead, we're going to dig further into those polls. Even Republicans aren't liking what they're seeing. Plus, the new issue of Time magazine tackles...
He's in the nose on the cover.
Yeah, it's the guy with the little hands. Anyhow, it tackles the number in the healthcare fight. The hundreds of billions of dollars slashed from Medicaid. Teensy hands.
I have no
and
idea.
Senator Rand Paul will be our guest.
Big hands.
Well,
Rand
yeah.
Paul.
We'll be right back.
It's like one of those clowns.
Nothing makes a man feel better than making a fake cover of a magazine about himself, lying every day and destroying the country.
Thanks for joining us on a day that began with the President of the United States sending a pair of tweets personally attacking a woman, insulting her intelligence, questioning her sanity, and expressing contempt for her appearance. I want to read you a passage from a book full of advice on how a president ought to behave. Quote, "The President of the United States is the most powerful person in the world. The President is the spokesman for democracy and liberty. Isn't it time we brought back the pomp and circumstance and the sense of awe for that office that we all held?" The writer went on to say, "That means everyone in the administration should look and act professionally, especially the President." The writer concludes, "Impressions matter." That quote is from a book called Cripple America. It was written in 2015. The author, Donald J. Trump. The same Donald J. Trump who wrote this after Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski criticized him this morning on MSNBC. Quote, "I heard poorly rated Morning Joe speaks badly of me. Don't watch anymore. Then how come low IQ crazy Mika along with Psycho Joe came to Mar-a-Lago 3 nights in a row around New Year's Eve and insisted on joining me? She was bleeding badly from a facelift. I said no." Now, it's easy at this point to just shrug and say, well, this is what our president does. That's who he is. Maybe to some this even seems normal, but it's not normal. This is the most powerful man on the face of the entire planet.
This is CNN.
This has been an unprecedented day in United States history, and it is not over. Having completed his appearance before the independent counsel's federal grand jury, the president is poised to address the court of public opinion 2 hours from now. With the latest, our senior White House correspondent, Wolf Blitzer.
President Clinton will explain to the nation what he told Ken Starr's grand jury. Despite his earlier flat denials, he did have an inappropriate sexual relationship with Monica Lewinsky. The Reverend Jesse Jackson met with the First Family Sunday night.
Face it, he is embarrassed by whatever happened, however one defines inappropriate.
Wolf, help me out, please. I'm trying to figure out what was the strategy that propelled this president, this White House, and the staff members to go all the way to the wall.
They thought that the strategy was that the supporters of the president, the advisors here, the officials who work in the president, they believed him. They took him at his word. They went all out. They defended the president till the very bitter end, until the evidence was such that Mr. Clinton could no longer go on and deny there was an improper relationship with Monica Lewinsky.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie, not a single time, never. These allegations are false.
Was the President of the United States caught in a lie?
Well, it depends on what he said today, but boy, it sure looks like that, Bernie. The question is not so much is it a lie, but is it perjury in a legal sense. Politically, it doesn't make a difference, but there's a difference between lying and committing perjury under the law, as bizarre as that sounds. But certainly, if it is, as we are now hearing, that he acknowledged a relationship, he now has a lot of work to do with the American people, and he has survived before, so he's probably going to survive this.
Behind White House walls, Bill Clinton spent the most precarious day of his presidency, while aides tried to weave a safety net, asking for post-testimony support from Capitol Hill's party faithful. So where is House Democratic leader Dick Gephardt? In France, on vacation, thank God, said a leadership aide. Also among the geographically blessed, John Conyers, ranking Democrat on House Judiciary, is home in Detroit, laying low, says a source. Senator Robert Torricelli, en route to Scotland. Ted Kennedy, vacationing at the family compound in Hyannis. No comment from the senator, said an aide, unless something drastic happens.
Clinton testifies in the lawsuit and is questioned about Lewinsky. January 26, his public denial.
In this town, people who work at the White House can testify to the president's charm. For months, they have stood steadfastly behind him, accepting his explanations and continuing to push his policies. In light of today's testimony, many are wondering what happens now. Former Clinton advisor George Stephanopoulos spoke to ABC News.
And this was tough for me and a lot of people who supported the president through a lot of hard times and believe he's been a good president. And what he's going to have to do now, not only with the country, is repair a breach of trust with his cabinet, who he called in after the story broke and said, "I'm telling you the truth," with his staff, who he sent out to defend him, and most of all, as I said, with the American people. That's a tall order for a 6-minute speech tonight.
If we can imagine what has been going on in Bill Clinton's mind these past 7 months, what has been going on inside the White House? The shadows of Monica Lewinsky and Kenneth Starr may hang heavy over the place, but still, there is a job to do, an administration to run, and a country to lead.
Stop! Look, if you can't control your tweeting habits, then stop tweeting. Go seek therapy. Go knit. Find a hobby. Talk to your wife. Do anger management. You've got to realize once and for all, you are no longer just Donald Trump. You're no longer just speaking for Trump Tower and Trump brand and Trump hotels and Trump steaks. You are speaking for an entire country. And our people do not deserve to be embarrassed and be represented by somebody who is so unfit for the job. So you've got to start pivoting. You've got to start acting presidential. You should have started 6 months ago, but start now if you couldn't do it back then.
A man struggling to fulfill promises he's made on health care reform and a whole host of other issues, lashing out personally at a cable news anchor, making snide comments and allegations about her appearance.